Did you notice these details in Attack on Titan? In Season 2, during the breach of the Wall Rose, while at the top of Utgard Castle, upon losing all hope we can see Berthold was about to bite his hand. What's crazy about this is at that time we didn't know about him being the Colossal Titan. Another crazy detail added in this season is that while taking refuge at the castle, Ymir pulls out a can of herring and reads aloud. We can see shock on Reiner's face, because he instantly recognizes that the language is an ancient one that is not used on Paradis Island, and only Ymir can read. This moment directly hints that foreign languages and foreign people exist outside, which at the time of the episode airing wasn't even thought of. In Season 2, when Reiner and Berthold kidnapped Eren along with Ymir and took a break in the forest of giant trees, Ymir asks Reiner, "What's the deal with that ape?" Eren looks at her in confusion and asks, "What's that? Ape?" We are led to think that Eren was confused because he never saw the Beast Titan since he wasn't in Utgard Castle. But it seems that Eren literally had no idea what a monkey is in the first place, indicating that monkeys do not exist in the walls, but do outside of them. After speculating that the female Titan was after Eren, Armin told Jean and Reiner to put their hoods up so that the female Titan would not recognize them. However, before Reiner attacked the female Titan, he removed his hood. Additionally, we can see Annie smiling at Reiner. In the Marley arc, before Eren's attack, there is a sneaky hint of Zeke's betrayal. Zeke encourages Reiner to go to the basement with Falco, and we know who was waiting for him there. Parallels between Eren and Mikasa. When Mikasa unlocked her Ackerman power, it was to save Eren, and when Eren unlocked his founding power, it was to defend Mikasa. In the first episode, when the Colossal Titan grabbed the wall, it left hand marks there. In Season 3, when the Survey Corps came back to retake Wall Maria, we can still see the marks. Amazing attention to detail. In the first chapter of the manga, there is only one page numbered, the page 13. This page foreshadows the most heartbreaking scene in the series. See you later, Eren. The scene in the cabin happens exactly 13 years later. There's still more to this. A few pages later, we see a giant number 845, which tells us the current year. Isayama has never done that again. So the interesting part is, we have the numbers 13 and 845, and what happens on chapter 138, page 45. During the operation to retake Wall Maria, Armin found the remains of fire on top of the wall. He instantly realized that Reiner and Berthold had camped here, so he went down to further investigate. He found a pot and 3 mugs. There were drops of some black liquid in the mug. You might have thought that it was some magic upgrade potion. Nah, that was coffee, because there was also a coffee grinder there. When he smelled the cups, he found the smell pleasant, but he couldn't recognize the beverage. In Paradis, they only have tea, indicating these 3 are not only from outside the walls, but from another land where coffee can grow. In Episode 3 during the cadet training, everyone got the hang of ODM gear pretty easily except for Eren. He was struggling with the equipment and failed to stay upright. During his second attempt, he lost his balance and hit his head on the ground very hard. Later, we can see steam coming off from his head. At that time, we had no idea why Eren's body was radiating steam. However, we soon learned that all Titan shifters produce steam, effectively foreshadowing Eren's identity as the Attack Titan. In Season 1, during Eren's fight with Annie, the wall was damaged, and we received a shocking revelation about what the walls are made of. After the fight, Mikasa, Armin, and Jean were hanging out with Eren in his room. This detail was not included in the anime, and is only present in the manga. Armin made a joke saying, "Those Titans have been standing there for at least a century. It's time they might go for a walk all at once." At that time, nobody could have guessed that this joke was a foreshadowing of the rumbling Eren would start to take Titans outside and crush the world. In Season 3, after fight with Colossal Titan, our main cast divides into 2 groups on the dispute of who to bring back, Armin or Commander Erwin. At that moment, Eren says to Mikasa that it's not the commander or himself who will save humanity, rather it will be Armin. At that time, we couldn't even guess what Eren meant. But as the story progressed, and Eren went on to crush humanity, it was Armin who led the group that opposed rumbling, and eventually stopped Eren from trampling over humanity outside Paradis. In the finale of the series, after stopping Eren, everyone reunites with their families. We can also see Jean and Connie meet Sasha, who gives them a farewell salute with a smile. However, when Gabi is hugging Falco, if you look closely in the background, we can see Sasha fading away and watching her go. Connie breaks apart, and Jean comforts him. In Season 4 of the show, when Zeke and Eren secretly used to meet, since Zeke was being careful not to make physical contact with Eren, he threw a baseball as a gesture of handshake. If you look closely, we can see both of their shadows don't have heads. This directly foreshadows that both brothers are going to be beheaded. Another detail you might have missed is when Zeke throws the ball toward Eren, he drops the ball, which hints at Eren betraying Zeke for control of founding power. In the very first episode of Season 4, Falco is lying on the ground during the fight between Marley and the Mideast Allied forces. Colt saves him and brings him into the trench. He is still dizzy, and he asks his friends, "Wasn't I flying around with a sword just now?" This is the direct foreshadowing of Falco inheriting the Jaw Titan, who can also fly. But future memories are only exclusive to Attack Titan, so how Falco received them? The only reason could be because Eren showed him these memories. What do you guys think? Did you notice this sad detail in Attack on Titan? Throughout the series, whenever Titan shifters want to transform, they either bite their hand or inflict a small wound just enough to trigger the transformation. But when Grisha transforms, he thinks about Faya. More specifically, he remembers the scene when he took her hand in his own and led her outside the internment zone. And he is the only shifter who literally stabs his hand with a knife. That's because Grisha is stabbing the same hand that led his sister to her death. It shows he is deliberately punishing the hand that started it all. In the first season of the show, during the female Titan arc, when Annie mercilessly kept killing scouts, Eren was at his limit and badly wanted to transform. Levi said about Eren that he is a real monster, and not due to his Titan power. No one can force him to submit. At that time, we all thought Levi called him a monster because of his stubborn attitude. But it was a direct foreshadowing of Eren turning into a monster for the outside world, as he started the rumbling and went on to crush the 80% of the population. In the final season of the show, to stop the Jaegerists from pursuing scouts, Theo Magath and Keith Shadis sacrificed themselves and blew up the boat. What's even sadder is that everybody knew about the death of Magath and shed tears for him. But nobody knew Keith was also there and died as a hero. Everybody just assumed that he died in chaos or crushed by rumbling. Ironic how he was a bystander, even in his death. When scouts visited Marley for the first time, a Prigo woman passed by Eren in the streets of Marley. His facial expression changed when he saw her, and he seemed bothered and sad. This is the same woman carrying a child who fell off the cliff because of rumbling. Eren knew her fate and felt enormous guilt after seeing her. Fun fact, her child was voiced by Yuki Kaji's newborn, the Japanese VA of Eren. Though we first came to know in episode 8, when Eren emerged from Titan, that humans can transform into Titan. But did you notice that this fact was actually hinted at in the very first chapter of the manga? When Colossal Titan attacked the gate of Shiganshina district, we could see only one footprint, which means that the Colossal Titan didn't walk all the way to the gate, but it appeared out of nowhere, hinting that it wasn't always in the form of a Titan, but rather something much smaller before transforming. When Eren was abducted by Rod Reiss inside a cavern, Eren said, "Haven't I been to this place before?" Some think that he found the place familiar because of memories of the previous owners of founding Titan. But that's not it. This scene is actually a foreshadowing of Eren and Zeke visiting Grisha's memories. When Eren manipulated his father into stealing the founder and killing Rod's family, and when Rod Reiss turned into Titan and the whole structure started falling. Eren drinks a bottle in order to create a crystal structure with his body and protect his friends. He reads armor on that bottle, but it is written in a foreign language just like the herring can in the Utgard castle. But he could read that, and knew how to consume the liquid, which was probably Frida's memories playing a part. Because Frida was aware of this bottle, and knew how to maximize Titan's abilities. The humanity existing outside Paradise was revealed after scouts got to the basement of Grisha's house, though it was hinted before, like in Ymir and Reiner scene in Utgard Castle. But did you know it was foreshadowed in the very first episode of Season 1? The title screen of Episode 1 looks like some random scribble at first, but if we look closely, we can see two islands, one with a long wall and one without. And in between we can see water and a few boats going towards Paradise, subtly but effectively foreshadowing the major plot twist of the show. During the fight between the Warhammer Titan and the Attack Titan, Lara asks Eren, "In your final moments, do you have any last words?" Ironically, those were her own last words. But Eren replied, "Do it now, Mikasa." While these words seemed normal, as Mikasa appeared at that moment and attacked the Warhammer Titan. But Eren was actually replying to Lara, and foreshadowed what his last words would be in his actual final moments. And we all know in his final moments, he was trying to convince Mikasa to kill him in the cabin scene.